The #1 album of all time is... So I am going to tell you guys what the top 10 greatest albums to me are. My top 10 favorite albums of all time. If anyone cares. No, I don't listen to Sabrina Carpenter. And no, I don't listen to... Well, wait. Wait, I forgot there's females in the stream. Yeah, I love Sabrina Carpenter. I love Taylor Swift. Don't even get me started on Short and Sweet. My first favorite album on this list. This is not going to be in any order, except for I will have my favorite. I will say which one's my favorite. My first favorite album of my top 10. This might be a surprise to some of y'all because I do hate on Drake. I do hate on Drake because he fell off after Views. But my favorite and a top 10 album to me, and it's Drake's best album, Nothing Was the Same. This is Drake's best album, and this is a top 10 album of my lifetime. This probably has, this has 2 of Drake's best songs ever. Tuscan Leather and Furthest Thing. This is Drake's best song ever. Tuscan Leather is Drake's best song. There's not a better Drake song than Tuscan Leather. And it's like 6 minutes long, so it's like it's really like 3 songs in one. How is this Rush Pander? How is this Rush Pander? I don't even like Drake like that. Furthest Thing, there's barely any skips on this album. Really the only songs I skip on this album is Hold On We're Going Home, because at the time it was overplayed. A lot of songs I don't like listening to when they're overplayed on the radio and stuff like that. Then another song that's skipped is... That's really it. I don't really skip anything else. So this really has like 1 skip for me. But this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Another goated album of all time. Top 10. This is a Travis Scott album. Pander. Now we got the clip. Bro, why are you clipping me? My next album on the top 10 best albums of all time, greatest albums of all time, is the Travis Scott album, Your Time Is Over. This is Travis Scott's best album. Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight. This is his best album. Astroworld is close to this. I'm not going to lie. But this is by far, or not by far. This is his best album to me. And this is a top 10 album for me. The End, banger. Way Back, banger. Coordinates good. Through the Late Night, banger. I think this has like no misses, bro. SDP interlude. It's literally an interlude and it's still a banger. Sweet Sweet, Outside. Outside is probably the only song I'm skipping on here. Drink Water is 2K. Yeah, we don't drink water over here. Pick Up the Phone. Lose. Yeah, this is a top album of all time for me. Oh my gosh, why are you making me drink water? Drink up, big boy. Don't refer to me like that. Don't refer to me like that. Come on. All right. The next album. So that's 2. The next album, I'm kind of going from the least favorites to the favorites. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of going from least favorites to the favorites. This is a Kid Cudi album. I don't like Kid Cudi, really. I'm going to be honest. Kid Cudi is very mid. Okay, petite boy. Kid Cudi is very mid, but this album, the first album, this is... there's 0 skips on this album. I literally can play this from start to finish without shuffle on and go through the whole thing and I'll listen to it. I actually do this quite often. But Man on the Moon, top 10 album for me. First Good Opinion. This album's like a story. If you don't know, this is like some story shit. If you haven't listened to this, I actually highly recommend it. But I don't really like Kid Cudi's other albums. This is like the only one I listen to. And then like a couple other songs of his. But yeah, this is a goated album. Top 10. Top 10 of all time for me. Top 10 rap album of all time for me. All right. Next on the list. Next on the list is Watch the Throne, Goat Ye, and Jay-Z. Watch the Throne. This is a top 10 album. Once again, almost every album on this list has like no skips. And if they do have skips, it's just because the songs were overplayed. If they do have skips, it's because the songs were overplayed. But this right here, this is like one of my favorite albums from my growing. This is like one of my favorite. When do you rate at what? When you do a raid after stream, do some people actually follow you because of the raid? Only one time have I done a raid and people followed me after. Only one time, and it was one person. So I've only ever gained a follower from raiding once. Gotta have it. Facts. Pretty much everyone that's ever followed my stream is from either just randomly coming across. Nah. But I knew him before the raid. Basically, the only people that have ever followed how I get followers on my stream is usually through my YouTube videos. That's like where most of them came from. And then when Twitch recommends my channel. But this album, 10 out of 10. Really no skip. Some of the best Jay-Z and Kanye songs are on here. Kanye is my favorite rapper though, so this isn't like there's two Kanye albums. I could put a lot of the same rappers' albums on here, but I kept it to one album per rapper on this list. Like there's nobody with multiple albums on here except for Kanye, and that will lead me to the next one. This isn't my favorite Kanye album. I'm not gonna lie, but this is a top 10 album. Graduation. This is one of my favorite Kanye albums, but it's not my favorite. But my favorite, I know this is gonna sound crazy because it's a top 10, and I don't have my favorite Kanye album on here. But that's because my favorite Kanye album has some misses on it. This one doesn't have any misses. I can play this start. I know like every word to every song on this album from start to finish. I could literally. I mean, I have to have it playing. I have to have the songs playing, but I can rap the entire album. I'm not even gonna lie. I can do that. Not better than Dark Fantasy. I like this album better than Dark Fantasy. And my favorite Kanye album, this isn't part of the top 10, but this is my favorite Kanye album. Late Registration. This is my favorite Kanye album. But this isn't in my top 10 of all time. It's just my favorite. All right, the next album. People are gonna be like, "Wow, this is a top 10 album for you." Some of y'all might not even be hip, but this album right here, this is probably like my most listened to album. Like since this came out, since 2020, this is probably like my most listened to album. I dead ass, no joke. I will play this first song and just no shuffle, and it will just go through this entire, and I will go through and not skip a single song. This is a 31 song album. There's 31 songs on this, and I will start it at the first one and just let it play all the way through. Like every time I listen to this album. This is probably my most listened to album. This is the greatest mixtape of all time. But this is top 10 for me. Top 10. All right, the next one. If Rush was here, he would make fun of me for this. And this is probably crazy to put in a top 10 greatest albums of all time. But this is my personal. This isn't like greatest albums I think in music. This is my personal top 10 favorite albums. This is in there. A Great Chaos by Ken Carson is in there, bro. It's in there. This album, dub. Thank you, Hit. Thank you. This is a dub. I don't skip any songs on this album, and I've listened to this album nonstop since. This is the deluxe. The original one came out in 2023, but this is probably like my most listened to album. I fuck with that. This is a top 10 album for me. This album is fire. Is goated. This is what if you get in the car with me today, This is most likely you are going to hear multiple songs from this when we get in the car. It's just I'm sorry. It's gotta happen every time I get in the car. This album is getting played. At least something off of it, bro. I'm just keeping it a stack. Say what you want. It is what it is. But yeah, this is in the top 10. All right, the next album. This is probably the first album that actually has misses that's on this. But this album, this is Young Thug's best album. But this is a top 10 album for me. So much fun. Just How It Is literally, that is a super banger. So I'm not gonna lie, I do skip a lot of songs on here though. Like Ecstasy, I'm not listening to a Machine Gun Kelly song in 2024 or 2025. But Surf, banger. Light It Up, banger. Hot was overplayed, so I don't listen to that, but that's still a banger. What's the Move is a banger. Jumped Out the Window. Cartier Gucci Scarf. Pussy, But You From the Land. What does that mean? Just because I'm from Cleveland doesn't mean I gotta listen to Machine Gun Kelly, bro. I don't listen to that shit, bro. I don't listen to that fake ass rock shit. But I'll support Machine Gun Kelly though. Hey, I don't care where you're from. I'm gonna be honest every time. I'm gonna be honest every time. All right, we got 2 albums left. 2 albums left. These are probably my 2 most listened to albums since these have came out. Oh my God, my voice is cracking. If you think you can guess what albums they are, you might be able to guess one of them. You know I gotta put this in there, bro. Whole Lot of Red gotta be in there, bro. Whole Lot of Red. This has 0 misses. 0 misses in this entire album. There's not a single song on here that you can skip. This is the second best album of my life. This is the second best album of my life. I have it on vinyl in the background. Over there. Say what you want. I don't play this when I get in the car no more, really too much anymore because I just played it so many times, bro. I'm putting the puzzle together. How are you putting the puzzle together? What do you mean you're putting the puzzle together? And then the greatest album of all time to me. This is it wasn't Rush that turned. What are you talking about, bro? The greatest album of all time to me. This is the greatest album of all time. I won't even discuss it. The number 1 album of all time is Love Is Rage 2, Lil Uzi. This is the number 1 album of all time. 0 skips. Still playing it every single day. This album low-key like changed my life. And it's still getting played every single time. There's not a better rap album than this, bro. There's not. I would find it hard to believe if you can give me an album that you think is better than this. I'm not going to buy it, bro. I've thought about this list many times in my life, and this is always the first album that comes in my mind. Whenever I think of my top 10 favorite or like my favorite albums, this is the first album that comes to mind every single time. It's the first one I think of.